Testing, testing. Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Apparently OBS lost all the settings for the microphone. But yeah, we're gonna work on. So we got Night Irene here, and we've got some of the white fur done, but her fur is very white. We're really gonna start working on these smaller areas, and I always work with the lightest colors first because you can always fix them with the darker colors. We're going to get that in frame so people can see what I'm working on. And the only downfall of using a small dry brush is it's going to need to be loaded quite often. But we're just going to get this fur to be very white. We're going to get this thing up a few notches in whiteness. Oh, thank you, Mr. Michael Cassell, for letting me know that the microphone wasn't working. And red light. Apparently both of you guys were saying that my microphone was not working. Alright. We'll get this going. And also, if the frame drops are bad, I apologize. When everyone's home, I'm in a pretty rural area. When the whole neighborhood is on vacation. Let me adjust that camera. So, HubSpot. Because I'm going to be painting more here. Bringing it this close is really hard to paint. I don't want to be right on top of my camera. Unos momentos. Waiting for camera 2 to load in. Boom. Image. Manual focus. Right there. That's better for me. Yeah, we're going to work. It's definitely under the arms. You can see not very white. I don't think a polar bear is going to have that much shadowing underneath their arms. Yeah, we'll get in there. Get that fur even whiter. I don't often use the tiny dry brush. Yeah. I didn't realize the internet connection was going to be so bad till I hit the stream button and I watched the kilobytes per second drop to 5,000 instead of the normal 10,000. I'm like, oh yeah, the holiday week. Everyone in the neighborhood is home. That means the internet is going to be a little slow. All I'm doing is coming and touching up the dry brush work so the whites on the fur are very white. But I have to use this tiny, tiny dry brush. Because I don't want to spill a whole bunch of white into an area that I don't want it. Especially these little tiny toesies. But sometimes it fixes itself, so hopefully it does that again where eventually, oh yeah, it's even dropping further. Yeah, so video quality will be a little poopy. Oh well, it's still better than me trying to lay down and do nothing all day. Hey, what's up, Beer? Apologize for the stream quality. Forgot it's a holiday week, so the internet in the neighborhood tends to be a little bit poopy. I know it's not any not going to change quality if I make apologies for it, but I feel better when I do. The only downfall of living in the rurals. When I lived in the more populous, fancy area, even when people are on vacation, I still had better internet. Even though we have gig here, man. Like, it's crazy. You have gig, you pay for gig. But once you have everyone in the whole neighborhood home and there's only one connection for all the whole neighborhood. Yeah, but see where we're getting that. See how much whiter that is than that? That's all we're doing. We're just coming in here and touching up the dry brush work. Making sure it's extra white. So how have you been, Beer, man? You've been playing any... I think you saw you play Dinkum the other day. I didn't catch the stream until it was already over. Are you also in the Australia, like GG and all them? Or are you... I think you are in the United States. If I recall. And we're using some Vallejo. This is my old bottle of Model White. We're just going to brighten the heck out of this fur, so... Ohio. Oh, that's right. So you're still in the Midwest. But Ohio, I think, is an hour difference. Now you can see, like, that white, especially in the elbow here and the arms, is really starting to pop. I'm still using the dry brush. I'm still keeping those dark darks. And there's a polar bear. So it needs to stay as bright white as possible. If I have to, I'll come in with like a white wash to really bring it up. Doing a building stream the other day in Dinkum. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I saw. I've played Dinkum. They BG and all them got me into it. Gives me that Animal Crossing's itch that was needed to be scratched. I do love me some awesomeness that is known as Animal Crossing. Oh. I think I'm almost done with this cold. Kind of came in like a wrecking ball yesterday. And I was just not... My body was like, you're not sleeping. You have fluids to escape from your nostrils. And I'm like, fine. Yeah. There we go. Much whiter on the fur. That's good. But we have other bears to work on. Let me grab my other holders. I love these 3D printed holders for miniatures when I paint. Oh, heck yeah. Pennsylvania. Yeah, I remember Michael Cassell used to come by all the time on the streams. Thanks for coming by again, man. So yeah, you can see how gray he is, and we're just going to touch up the fur again. And I'm just touching real lightly because I don't want the paint to fall into the crevices and ruin the texture. Like you can see in this elbow how gray that is. We're just going to pick a direction and stick to it and make sure we don't touch the grooves. And look how much whiter that is than that side already. We haven't messed with the grooves. We're letting those fine detailed textures stay fine detailed textures. We like the contrast. We want contrast, but we don't want black. And I'm not used to this tiny, tiny dry brush. Like, usually load up a dry brush and I'm good for 3 or 4 sections. Over here reapplying paint every half section or so. But after the white's done, I can come back in real quick and we'll go in and hit this thing with a whole bunch of paint. Let me take a look at these guys. Are their hands white or are they gloved? So yeah, their hands are gloved, so I don't have to... Oh, this one's not... Oh, 2 of them... All actually... Okay, this one has gloves. These ones I can see fingertips, so... yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah, look how much whiter that is now versus the front here where it's all gray. Over here, it's very white. That's all we're doing. We're making sure the dry brush stays a little wet. That keeps the color from looking chalky. What we don't want is a chalky miniature. Let me turn this way. That way. And then, yeah, there we go. You guys gotta yell at me, man. I'm on my C game today. If I can get in there without destroying too many things. That's a tough area to paint. All right, this face. Now look how gray this face is. It's the same color as that helmet. And we're just gonna come in there. My downfall is there's not a lot to work with in there. Yeah, so now you can see that total difference here. I might try a white wash. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's get the anklies and toesies. Too busy working and dying. Why are you dying, Michael Cassell? Hopefully, you mean that as a joke and you're just getting older and dying, not, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me dying, because that would make me sad. Or do you also have a cold like I do right now? Got that holiday flu been going on. Yeah, that fur is looking nice and white. Little bit more. And just some spots I cannot get to even with a tiny dry brush. But see how we're still getting great separation in each. Or gosh darn, man, that speed of my internet is turned into poop. I had a hard. Whoa! Man, my neighbor just had that, dude. I'm glad you're still around, though, man. Yeah, my neighbor went to the doctor. Well, I called him one day. He's an electrician, and I need to get some electrical stuff done. He's always been cool and helped me out. You know, I give him like cases of booze or whatever. Help me with some electrical stuff around the place, and I give him a call like, "Hey, man, I need to keep having the switch. It keeps burning out, man. It's like every year I replace the switch." Like, yeah, I'll come by. I'm just at the doctor's right now. I haven't been feeling good, but I'll be by. You know, I'll come by in a couple days or whatever. A day passes. I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna bug the man. He said he wasn't feeling good, so I sent him a text message. Hey, man, don't worry about it. You know, I'll call electrician, man. You go rest up, get 100%, and then we'll hang out. You know, in the next couple days or whatever when you're feeling better. Didn't hear from him for a couple, 2-3 days, and he sends me a text or a call, and he goes, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I haven't contacted you back. I had a heart attack." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, that day I went to the doctor. I was just sitting in the ER telling him, you know, I was having this issue and this issue, and I was just waiting in the ER or in the, you know, the patient waiting area, whatever that's called." You can tell I go to the doctor often. And then he's like, "Yeah, they took me in, hooked me up to a bunch of stuff, and they're like, we need to take you to a real hospital." They zoomed him over, and he had 90-something% blockage in his Widowmaker, and another one was like 60-something, 70-something% blocked, and they stinted both of them right then and there. And yeah. So Dude, bypass is crazy, dude. I know a workout though, man. You got this. You're a fighter. Yeah, I was lucky my wife was home. I said that I was gray. Whoa. And you got life lighted? Yeah, dude. Having a nurse in the family in general, always awesome. They're some of the smartest people in the world, and they see things people don't see. Holy crap, dude. 190 and 80. That's crazy, man. You're not even that old, right? I think you're my age, like 40s? Oh yeah. That fur's gonna look even whiter once we start coloring all the rest of the colors in the miniature. I remember my buddy got back from the hospital and they had put him in this vest they had to wear 24/7 that would alert them if anything happened and would actually revive him or hit him with some electricity if his heart decided to stop. He ended up taking it off like after a few days. He hated it, but he was crazy. Like he admitted that like, yeah, I kind of knew it was going to happen. He was like a three pack a day smoking guy plus drinking plus eating McDonald's 2-3 times a day every week, and he was like 55, 60. No, not 60, 55, I think. 38. So you're younger than me. 7, 6, 5 years younger than me. I just had my birthday the other day. It man. So you doing anything to like keep your mind occupied? Because I'm guessing it ain't easy coming back from hearing all that. Oh, none of that's easy, man. I'm just glad you're still here and you're gonna still be here. Be coming to these streams for as long as I keep bringing them. Oh, now I'll have to drag you out. Yeah, it was some weird vest. Like I saw him, he had to wear it was like literally a vest. It was crazy. And he's like, "Yep, this thing monitors my heart and a bunch of other stuff all at the same time, and then anything happens, it automatically calls the hospital, and then um, will perform shock if the heart stops." And I'm like, "That's crazy." Yeah, it was some crazy vest they had him wearing, man. I kind of like the little dry brush. It doesn't fall in the grooves as easily as the bigger one, so it doesn't paint areas I don't want painted. Yeah, we got that white fur getting real bright and white. It's going to look really bright and white once all the rest of the colors on here right now. It's all monochrome at the moment. Hands paint. Work keeps me busy enough to have any hobbies. Yeah. You still got you working even though, you had a very life-changing thing? Paint the ears. Glad I started paying attention again. These ears need to be white too. If I can get this done without having to crack open more paint. Now I'm over here crying over some mucus in my nose. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that packet loss. Watching packet loss after packet loss. Yeah, my buddy's boss was like that. He had throat cancer from years of chew and smoking, and he kept working through it. And then he started losing the ability to like eat because like it was deteriorating his face. All right, we're done with a tiny dry brush. Clean that up as best we can so I don't have to struggle cleaning it later. I will say it's really hard to keep paint out of it. I had one stray brush hair. There we go. There we go. Well, artified dry brush. All right. Go back to our Mamma Jamma. So I'm going to speed paint this. And speed painting, basically, you drop in some dry brushing, and that gives you kind of like the highlights and the midtones. And like you can already see like there's, in this leather jacket, there's some highlights and stuff. And what I do is I try to paint the inside stuff first and the lighter colors first. Because if you put light colors on something that needs to be darker, it's fine. Lego sets. Yeah, Lego sets. Let's go. Yeah, he did a bunch of. His wife was into puzzles, so he was doing a ton of like puzzles and stuff. So if we look at the card, the first light color I really want to work on is this fur around his neck, and probably the leather, all the light leather points. So we got this like brown over here, this light tan color. There's some silver metal plates on his legs, some copper brown up here. So yeah, let's go ahead and work on this section, this fur around his collar. Now I'm gonna have to make a custom paint because I don't have it almost looks like blonde. So we're gonna use some yellow maize, a little bit of speed paint medium to thin it down, and then we're gonna use pallid bone. We're gonna basically yellow up a little bit of bone color to make it look. So we're gonna use mostly the bone color and some speed paint medium to thin it down. So let's turn this way. I've already mixed this up a lot. We're gonna put like 3 or 4 drops. 1, 2, 3 drops of speed paint medium. Always clean the tips of your paint bottles before you close them back up. And we'll do like 1 drop of yellow. And I'm making this up as we go. 1 drop of maize yellow. Probably like 3 or 4 drops of pallid bone. See if we can make a blonde. Let's see what that looks like. I just use the back of a paintbrush to mix it. You never want to use the actual paintbrush. Alright, so we've got kind of a blonde. You can see that, and we're trying to get to, I think it's a little bit lighter. So what we'll do is we'll add a little bit more speed paint medium. To get that a little bit lighter, and maybe just a splotch of holy white. 1, 2 more of that. So we got 5 drops of speed paint medium, 1 drop of yellow, 3 drops of pallid bone, and then we're going to do 1 drop of holy white. Pair that together. Yeah, that's kind of a blonde. That's pretty good. I just, everything's curved. So like I use these silicone trays because when the paint dries in them, I can just literally like a fidget popper, just pop the paint out. So because all the wells are curved, I actually prefer the back of a paintbrush. I'm so used to it now. All right, we're gonna crack a fresh brush open. So I only use synthetic brushes when I use contrast paint, speed paints. That's what these are. Use Citadel. Those are contrast paints. Or Army Painter calls them speed paints, or yeah, they call them speed paints. And yeah, close this off. I think we'll be close. I think it's a little lighter, but I ain't too picky. You know what? Let me add a little bit more. Where is it? Get some more of this holy white. It's basically light gray. And maybe a drop of white paint. Now this isn't white. They don't actually make very good white speed paint. Yeah. That's a little bit closer to what we're trying to go for. That's much closer. Well, that to that. Yeah, that's pretty close. I think we're good now. This is a pretty big brush. Back of the paintbrush to put white down this under it. Yeah. That does work pretty good. So we're gonna load up this thing, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit these layers of fur one whole chunk at a time. Let it really blend in with everything. Keep it nice and thin. And what speed paint likes to do is it's so thin that it keeps, yeah, that's the right color. It keeps the highlights and shadows from underneath. Now the lighter ones, it tends to do that less, because I did drop some white paint in there, which is fairly opaque. But it'll work. It'll work. Yeah. You can see that. That color is just about what we're looking for. Nice thing about using a bigger paintbrush too, it's got a pretty good well in it, so you don't have to keep grabbing more and more paint every few seconds. You actually paint for quite a bit before you need to re-snag some more paint. What I might do is I'll probably go back and yeah, that's the right color. Go back in and put a light wash, like a dark wash on there to bring out the shadows. You really want to make sure you load up the brush. And then steal any paint that ends up in creases. The creases don't end up brighter. They did over here. I wasn't paying attention. Paint in that crevice. There we go. Cleaning up these crevices before the paint dries. Yeah, that's the color we're looking for. Okay. Touch up any areas I missed. I think we nailed the color we're going for. Made a little bit too much of this color. Yeah, for these miniatures, man, to paint the eyeballs white, or paint the white dot in the center of the eyes, man, I would just use the world's tiniest brush and pray that I aimed correctly. Yeah, there we go. You got that blonde neck fur. And the next thing we'll work on is that light brown. So we'll off our brush. We'll grab, so that brown is like a copper brown on the shoulder pads, and then the rest is this like lighter brown here. So I grabbed Desolate Brown, which is the lightest brown I had. And we'll do Speed Paint Medium again. Quite a bit of that. 5, 6, 7. 7 drops of paint medium. Like, I don't know, 3 drops of this. 1, 2. Clean that up. That is. I have not been cleaning the tip of that off. That's the color it's supposed to be. Oh yeah. Yep, I have not been cleaning that off very well. I apologize to my painter. Damn, that internet. Just doing poopy. I mean, once all the people in the neighborhood starts falling asleep, the internet will pick back up. That darn upload speed that gets crushed when everyone's online. Because I get gig down, but it's like 60 up. Alright, let's see what happens when we... Yeah, that's still a bit dark. Let's drop a couple of drops of pallid bone in there. Boop, boop. 3 drops. It's not going to lighten up a bunch. Pallid brown is still a dark-ish color. But... And I'm not going for... I'm going to steal my artistic... A little bit of artistic license here, so... Yeah. We will paint the chest area. So this one looks lighter than that. So I'm going to use the copper and brown for that, but... You see how it's not covering up the highlight that I made earlier. Basically, you want to get this speed paint everywhere and then kind of manipulate it around so it touches all the areas you want it to touch before it dries. Pulling it away from highlight areas and pushing it into recess areas. Yeah, so it's brown, but you can still see all that cool highlight stuff I did in there. Yeah, let's do these pants. And then yeah, it pools in the seam, so it's already filling in the shadow detail all on its own. As long as you treat it well. Definitely don't want to overdo it here because it's next to white. It has to stay white. Getting 73.2, 11.5. That's like normal people internet. I try to get that crazy kid internet. See us filling in all those creases. So you're getting good shadow detail. A little extra on there. The coat and the chest plate. What color is the belt? The belt is a darker brown. That's fine. We can make that. And the jacket is also the lighter brown. Okay, that's fine. This I gotta go real quick so I can get all. The one thing about large areas, you really want to get the paint down really quickly, because it tends to dry very fast. The only downfall with acrylic paints is, I mean, it's a good and a bad. You want the paint to dry quickly, but not when you're trying to manipulate the paint in the areas you want it to go to. Okay. Top part of the jacket here. And then you see how it's really filling. You really want to push it away into the crevices, so that way the crevices get darker, so more pigment ends up there. All it is just a highly pigmented paint that has a clear medium to it. Yeah, we got the pants, we got the jacket. Belt's going to be an even darker brown, and then I'll make this a darker brown as well, and I'll make that kind of a silver. And that's going to be copper. So we've got this brown here. We'll make it a step darker. So we got some, here's my grim black. I know I've got grim black over here somewhere. Or did I not grab it? Oh, here it is. Spectrum cable. Oh, shoot. Yeah, we have Mediacom and whatever the other fancy one, Comcast. 1, 2, 3 drops of black. So we're going to make that a darker brown. Even though I own a darker brown. Oh, yeah. There's our brown we're using for. Here's a new brown we just made. And we'll apply that into the areas that need to be darker brown. Let's wash our paintbrush. That old paint off. Yeah. See how that is just a little bit darker than that. And then that is the different color. entirely. That copper brown. Okay, we'll paint this belt. Wrap this dark brown. And really, I can paint it whatever I want. It's my model. Like, I don't know why I'm being so parsnickety about what color brown is what color brown in this, but yeah, you can see the difference. And I'll drop some of this dark brown, these crevices here. Give some extra shading detail. And so take a look at the jacket back here. I'm going to zoom in it. And it's not really dry enough for that yet. So you see in the knee here, see those little wrinkles in the clothes? I'm going to add some of this darker brown directly into those crevices, just like that. See how the shading goes in naturally? That's how you make things look like you took forever to paint it. And all you're really doing is shoving paint color into places. Okay. Fill some more of this darker brown, shove it into recesses in these folds of the pants. Any brown in the gloves or anything? No. Oh, there's some royal purple I didn't see. Boop. Alright. We're getting there. So now I got that copper brown. So, well, grab some copper. And some brazen copper. Have some more speed paint medium. So we're going to do like 3, 1, 2, 3. Do 1 drop of the copper. And we'll use our desolate brown, maybe 2 drops, 1 drop, 1 drop of desolate brown. Boop. And then 2 drops of pallid bone. We want it lighter. You know, we're just making these colors up. There's no rhyme to the reason that I'm doing this. I just know that pallid bone is, you can see pallid bone is a lighter brown. Is it water-based paint? Yeah, it is water-based, so it's all acrylic. I prefer these acrylic paints. If I make a mistake, I don't have to use any crazy chemicals to clean it. I also use my hand as a paint tester. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Beautiful copper brown. There's a little bit of metallic in there. Metallics destroy paintbrushes. So that's why I always crack open a fresh paintbrush anytime I'm starting a project. See a little different, that reddish brown. A little bit lighter. This will take a couple coats to get exactly where I want it. I thinned it a lot because there's a lot of metal flake in here. And metal flake paints, for me, always tend to run. If I thinned it, it seems counterintuitive, but it means I want to control the paint to where I want it to go. More so than not. You can see the difference. Like, here's this brown, here's that brown. You can see that kind of copperish brown versus the brown I had before. And once that paint dries, and come in and show you some more shading detail from that dark brown, which is why I didn't mess with the dark brown. I could keep stealing paint colors, mixing them to what I want. I normally do that on my wet palette. I love quite my dad's old painting quills when he used to hand paint signs. Oh, heck yeah. That's pretty cool. I have an airbrush kit too. That's how I prime all my miniatures, and slowly going to teach myself how to airbrush paint. Large flat surfaces. That's always the trick with speed paints. I want to make sure you get the whole area covered. That way it kind of self-levels itself. See, kind of like in that glaive. I think that's a glaive. I think that's what it's called. This larger brush is drinking this paint. There we go. So now I can really see, like, here's that copper brown and our light brown that we made. More of a leather brown. Leather brown really doesn't make sense. I know that's an actual paint color, but then in my head it's like, there's more than one leather brown. There's like light brown and dark brown and, I mean, tan brown. Probably making up colors now, but normal. I haven't seen the back of them, but I'm guessing that metal thing's the same color as the other metal parts that I see here. Really trying to make sure the paint goes in those recesses so it gets darker. So we manipulate in there, or steal some more and shove it in there. That way it gets darker. He used to have an airbrush, but never really used it, so he sold it when he got it. Oh, dude. Yeah, that makes sense. Like once you've gone to, and that's a silver. I'm gonna do these chest plates again, so it's that red or brown, so you can definitely tell it's a different color. Yeah. Yeah. Red or brown. Copper brown, I keep calling it. I'm just gonna paint all this color too. I don't know why I'm sticking to what's gonna take me forever. One thing about speed painting is you just kind of get it done. You know, you can't sit there with every piece and go, okay, you get an hour and a half for this one area. Like, nope, you're just gonna get done. Belt buckle is gray. And I am going to have to make like a metallic gray. No big deal. There we go. And all that needs to be painted are these silver plates here, the belt buckle, and then his hands, and then he's got an actual, like, yeah, it's like a royal purple inside the arm sleeves. Oh. All right. All right. Now that the back of him's painted, or dried, let me show you what I was talking about. So I'm going to grab that darker brown. I'm going to load it up pretty good. And I'm going to use it in these recesses. So like this would be darker. This would be darker. Boop. So letting those shadows really come through by using the darker paint that I already made for something else. And that gives us what's called contrast. Contrast is good because that gives us color separation. That makes things that look like they should be darker look darker, and things that should be brighter look brighter. Yeah, see how I painted it in those grooves? Then I'll come back in, just feather it out a little bit. Feather that out a little bit. There we go. We've got some nice shading in there. Highlights and shadows. And we have to get that royal purple. I have that color. Purple Swarm. Probably not dark enough, but we'll do a couple, 1, 2, 3 drops of it there. Two drops of speed paint medium. Where's that Grim Black at? Where did I put Grim Black at? There it is. Got the teeny tiny. Oh man, I did not clean off that paint. Back of my brush. Oh yeah, a good royal purple. Royalish purple. We can make whatever color we want as long as we use our imaginations. Alright, that is all in that arm sleeve area. Oh good. That's actually all of it. Okay. See? That's actually the most accurate color that I've made. Nope, I missed a thing that needed to be another color. Why you always triple check your work? There's those little purple bits. And then when I get to the hands and stuff, that's all basically like a gunmetal gray. And then the pipes are all blue. They blue? Yeah, all the pipes are blue. And then the little connectors are silver. So, the brush off. All the purple done. Go back to my coppery do. Made, and I missed a whole elbow pad that should be that copper. There we go. There's an elbow pad that I missed. Alright. The blue is lighter. The blue next. A little bit too large of a brush, but I think I'm just going to use this blue straight. Actually, let me clean that top off first before I go crazy. This brush is a little big for that, but I think I should be able to do it. Add a couple drops of speed paint medium just to be safe. 4 drops of speed. Again, like, that's kind of been the secret for speed painting for me. Adding a little bit more speed paint medium to the paint. All right. I think it flows better. Yeah. You really want that. The paint really needs to go in the recesses. So if you use a speed paint and it's bunching up in the highlights, I recommend thinning it with more speed paint medium. And of course, use the speed paint medium that your brand of paint makes. I don't recommend mixing and matching. I've seen paint clump. Use the wrong medium. Even when you use like thinners, I always use Vallejo thinner with my Vallejo primer. Because I have tried others, and oh my goodness, have I had some issues. I think these blue pipes transfer coolant to keep these polar bears cool even when they're in warm weather. Man, those frame drops. I don't know how people are hanging around with all those frame drops. I have 138,000 dropped frames. I've never had more than like 100 to 200 drop frames in like a 2 or 3 hour stream. That just seems crazy to me. Yeah, I should have grabbed a smaller brush. That's okay. Yeah, we're getting all those blue pipes. He's looking good. And seeing as he was basically a monochrome gray miniature an hour ago, and as usual, it's going to take 2 coats to get the color where I want it. That is because we are thinning it so much. Hope everyone chat's having a good time. It'll be dinner time for most people. I actually got to go take meds here soon. But yeah, the blue pipes came in real good. And we're just using a number 2 brush. I mean, it's actually a really big brush, and we can get some pretty good details. And that just comes with practice. So let's grab the gunmetal, which for me is this broadsword silver. And I'm going to add a couple drops of black to it. Wow, that is disgusting. 2, 3, 4. The silver definitely needs some thinning. That is pretty close to gunmetal. I'll add 1 drop of grim black. Man, did I gunk up. Let me grab. I have a box full of Q-tips. 8:40. Yeah, you're an hour ahead. You're on the same time as Indiana and Detroit. Hey, that grim black just keeps getting grosser every time I look at it. Trying to keep them clean so I don't drop junk in it. All right, a little bit of speed paint. 3. That up. Yeah, there's our gunmetal. Yeah. Yep, that's gunmetal gray. And brush a little bit too big, but glove paint. Now, if you look, like I didn't really put too much paint, dry brush on the hands, because silver goes much better on a darker tone underneath. No point in highlighting it with a whole bunch of white paint when that white paint's just not going to be there. Oh, I missed some blue. I can see it. You can see that gunmetal gray hand versus the gray hand. This plate here. This plate. Belt buckle. They're working on this other claw hand. One thing I've learned is paint with confidence. So when you start painting, just start painting. There's like little connectors. And that is a thirsty paintbrush. Dip it in there and just like shoop, sucks up a bunch of paint. The paint belt buckle here. Give me a whole bunch of paint. And that's why I always grab a new paintbrush anytime I paint with speed paints. The paint's so thin, it soaks up deep into the brush. And it starts ruining the brush. You start getting the hook head, all the nasty effects. There we go. Look at that guy. That is pretty darn cool. I told you that white would pop once I get a bunch of colors on here. Belt buckle darker. And again, every time you put another coat of paint down, it just gets another layer darker. And then what we do now is there's a whole bunch of little rivets. I know I paint over them brown, but because it's metallic, I'm going to paint over every rivet with a little bit of this gunmetal. Find the rivets. Fingers are in between the fingies like you would do if you're washing your hand after cleaning. I won't say cleaning what, but cleaning. Yeah. All right. And detail time. Grim black. So his nose be black. There's also a gold. I'm using just straight grim black because this has got to be black. He actually has a nose ring. Eyes black. Oh yeah, his gums are black. We'll come in and paint his really tongue red. Mouth. Okay. Grab the slaughter red. Drops. Boop. And I didn't clean that off. Oh boy. Yeah, get that tongue in there. That's tough to see, but it's red. We'll need a couple coats. Okay, where's my gold? Hoplite gold. Oh man, yeah, that's crusty. I don't use gold often. I also don't really like this gold very much. But it'll work. Nose ring. Rings. This person is pierced. I guess this bear is pierced. A person. Heck yeah. Nose ring, nose is painted, tongue's red. Just gotta get in there with some white paint and get the teeth a little bit brighter. And yeah. Figure out if I'm gonna do anything else with the fur. Not as white as I would like it, I think. I'm not gonna on that side. Do a little close-up action here. I'll put him here and then manually focus. There we go. See? You can see how that paint dried. It gave it darker lines in all the recesses, brighter in all the highlights. I did miss one blue tube. Oh yeah, right under here. Missed a blue tube. Change the focus again. Okay. He looks like he has a cool scar right here too. Wonder if I can drop some grim black in there. Really. There we go. All right, let's grab white. One drop of white. That was more like 1.5. That was like an air bubble. And then some speed paint medium. Probably just drops. Okay. And these are not the same brand, so they don't do the best together. They don't really want to work. If you just keep sloshing it around, it eventually plays nicely with itself. A little bit of that. Again, wrong brush for painting teeth, but I should be able to pull this off. Flip her upside down. I can see the teeth nicer. Look at that. Okay, let's hit the eye white. All right. That's going to be impossible to see. All right. So let's add. Let's try something real quick. I'm going to make a really light wash here. Put a water to this white speed paint mix that I made. Thin it real good. I'm going to test something down the feet area. There we go. A little whiter feet. There's some areas that are just too dark for me. Throw some very light. You can see the top of the head here, it was kind of like gray. I want that to be a little lighter gray because that'll be brighter in real life. All we're doing is adding a light wash, so it doesn't completely fill it in, but doesn't leave me with this like really horrible color. There we go. Actually makes the white pop just a little bit more. All right. Take a look at what we did and see if we missed anything. There we go. Look at that. That is a pretty darn good paint job for my standards. Okay. So now we're just going to add some highlighting. So let's grab a little bit of that blonde, a little bit of that white. Just come warm that up a little. Oh wow, 176,000 lost packets. I think we did good there. just going to add some highlights there. Hey, what's up? Who are we painting? I got a bunch of miniatures from Heroscape. I just primed a bunch of them, and then I dry brushed, and I've just kind of coming in and speed painting all the colors in here. So I've got Night Irene finished. So here's the card. Here's what I did. So pretty good. No, that doesn't show the back. Yeah, not too shabby. Yeah, detail's cheating with me though, because I am using speed paint. So let's work on this guy. We'll kind of go over. So let me grab their card. And all of them have like a gunmetal gray chest plate and that same bright blue. All the straps are blue. Their gloves are blue. But their helmets and whatever, I mean, that's basically a gunmetal grayish. I mean, their pants are even white. But actually, let me work on their pants. I made this white wash. I'm just going to work on that white wash into their pants. Just to brighten their pants up. So again, like, we're just going to brighten their pants up. And this microphone is way too close to my face when I'm leaned in. Yeah, let's work on these pants that need to be white. Let me put the card where I can read it. How's Gigi today? Again, with speed paints, make sure you're very loaded up with paint. I mean, it's all about manipulating the paint once you put it down. So I kind of work in the centers and the high points. And then I kind of, when my brush starts to dry, then I'll get closer to the edges. And you can see we made the paint white, or the pants way whiter than they were a little bit ago. With white, it's all about thin coats. White is a very chalky paint. So titanium dioxide is the very common pigment for white, and it does not mix with paint medium. It is very heavy. Good use, good. Grandkid shopping and hopefully some dinkum. Speaking of dinkum, Beer was in here and hanging out for a bit. He might still be roaming. Whoop. Hello. Alright, I'm back. I'm back. I got the white pants, white. I'm doing the gunmetal gray chest armor, and I guess they're pretty simple. All their armor is kind of that gunmetal gray, and they got blue straps, and yeah, blue straps. And little blue details here and there. I'm really gonna use this gunmetal gray that I made. Hey, hey! Yeah, yeah, beer's really cool. It's also from the Illinois, not Illinois, from the Midwest. So fairly close. Probably having very similar weather patterns as I am here. Second coat to darken that down. Again, with these speed paints, you really want to get all of the area coated as much as possible. That way it doesn't get all streaky and gross. A lot of people use speed paints wrong, and they'll try to paint them like regular paint. And then they're like, why is it so splotchy? And they're like painting little areas instead of trying to paint the entire surface. That way it's wet, it can kind of self-level itself. Like when I do this helmet, I'm loading up the paint. I'll start at the top. I'll push the paint into the lower area so more of that pigment is in the lower areas than at the top. So you kind of get like a natural gradient. And as the brush dries of the paint, you can steal paint from areas. But yeah, you know, the darker the helmet is now. The gloves and shoulder pads are also gunmetal gray. You need to make more. 1 drop of Grim Black. Boop. And where is my Broadsword Silver? 3, 4. And like 3 drops of Speed Paint Medium. Actually, do 4. It's fine if it's thinner. Nothing wrong with thinner paint. Okay. Clean off the brush. Take some of the paint off. Excuse me. The body's releasing all the nasty stuff. There we go. And let's work on, oh yeah, the gloves. Before I go too far, yep, gloves are all silver, gunmetal, dark metal. There we go. Oh. Painting anything, Gigi? I've seen your amazing painted a bunch of those models of weapons, props. Amazing props that you painted. I think you had like a Fallout weapon, other cool stuff. Okay, and then all the straps. She made a mistake. So knee pads are brown. That's fine. We used a gray. We use this darker brown we made because I've got plenty of it. Man, still a horrible connection. Back down to 3,900. We're at 220,000 lost frames. We have surpassed any record. All right. There we go. Cool. Let's work on that blue. All the straps are blue. Whole thing painted while it's wet. Always the mistake. Yeah. Tubes are blue. That's a coming in nicely. That white really pops once you get all the rest of the colors in there. Messages. No more messages. No more messages. Need to grab my med. He's pretty simple, but definitely need a second coat of blue in the shoulder straps. They're a little light. There we go. All right, I'll be right back. Standby button. Standby button. Where you at? Right there. Boom, we're back again. I am medicined up now. And filled myself with a bunch of water. Alright, so we're doing good here. We need to get the nose black. That paint has sat a little too long. I'm going to paint the eyes black. They're way too tiny for me to do detail for. Yeah, that paint is gone. Oh, nose. Little cutie nose time now. Okay. Where that gunmetal gray missed a spot, there's like a shoulder pad over here. Okay. One thing I do want to do, there's a lot of flat surfaces. I'm going to come back in later and I'll show you guys some edge highlighting in another video. But I think that's pretty good for this guy. And I've got so many of these to paint. These are the ones that I finished priming and pre-dry brushing. So some of these are already ready to go. And then some of them I did zenithal highlighting. So they're primed in black and then sprayed with white airbrush paint straight down from the zenith. You can see like, oh yeah, it's perfectly like there. But if you look underneath, it's like black. So a couple of different techniques. Yeah, here's some other minis. I grabbed them in case I got further. So this one's, you can see zenithaled. Very black underneath, but very white on top. But white. It brings all the details, and you come in and paint it, and it acts like a natural highlight with the speed paints. You still need to do some dry brushing, though. All right. I'm just going to grab some of this fancy white that I made. Touch up some areas and make them a little brighter. Very, very thin speed paint medium mixture, so I can make the fur even whiter. Not gonna, it's gonna steal some of the black out of it to steal some of the contrast, but I think it looks better. See how much whiter that looks. Still has plenty of contrast. Some of that paint. Let's see if I can zoom in and show you guys what I'm doing here. So let me see some of this paint real quick. So back of his neck's a good spot. So you see how there's a lot of dark shadow here, and it looks kind of dark and muddy. I grab a whole bunch. I'm gonna load up my brush with a whole bunch of this white, thin white speed paint medium I made. I'm gonna like literally coat it with it. And I'm gonna dab all the paint away. So see how there's like a whole bunch and it's running everywhere? I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna suck it up with the paintbrush. What that's gonna do is it's gonna brighten that area up. So there you got so much whiter. So if you look at the bear, he's so much whiter, but he still has some shadow in his fur detail. We're just gonna do that to the foot. Oh. And dingo. Yeah, that looks, oh, that looks nice. I'm actually gonna do the same thing to her white. I think it's a, stick this white paint all the right places. Brighten up that fur. Yeah, yeah, that brightens up the fur. Still got some good details in there. Okay. That's 2 down. Can I finish the other 2 before my body just gives up on me? Oh, man. 2,000 kilobits per second. Jeez Louise. That is not a number you want to see when you're streaming. Yeah, for that whole area. That's the biggest thing with speed painting, is just make sure you get as much of the area blocked in and work on the edges last. Or buffer. Yeah, it's gonna buffer a lot. This stream is cursed, just like my sinuses. Yeah, basically the same thing. All right. Got a cool backpack. A cool backpack. Backpack, backpack. I've stolen your technical difficulties, GG. I was like, how can I be as cool as Gigi? Have my own technical difficulties that I'm in charge of repairing. Ah. Yeah, brush tips are already starting to hook a little bit. There's a downfall of these marathon painting sessions. These synthetic brushes do not like to be abused this much. Look at this guy's helmet. Yeah. Getting that gunmetal blocked in as best we can. I think I'll finish on this guy because I don't feel like making more gunmetal. I think I have just enough to finish this paint job. I also feel I should try to get some sleep. Again, I got like 2 hours sleep last night. Because this dang cold wanted to take over my body. Sinus cold, that is. I don't think I'm actually have enough to finish this guy's. Man, we're getting close. Whatever's on this brush is basically all I have left. That'll do. That'll do. Alright, let's use that brown. I also use metallic paint, so paintbrush is probably pretty angry with me. Metallic paints are abrasive. Just wrecks these synthetic brushes. No end. Okay. Leather. By the way, if you're still here, I appreciate you for sticking on along through all of the extreme hardships. Okay. Blue. I do like how they designed these bears with the blue straps. I actually didn't realize that the straps were, because again, the miniatures I have were unpainted. They were very bone colored, like an off-white, and could not tell with my imagination. I knew these guys are polar bears. I have the cards that kind of show you what they look like, but seeing them actually painted in the scheme of what was shown, definitely different. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can turn this way and paint. Sorry, everybody. Thinking of doing a painting ceremony. Do it. Do it, Gigi. I'll paint with you on Monday. Are you going to paint miniatures? Are you going to paint some props? What are you going to paint, Gigi? Tell me your secrets. I think you mentioned you've never speed painted before. You've only done like regular acrylics, correct? You haven't actually messed with the speed paints? And I don't always speed paint. I do a little bit of everything, but when I have to paint as many miniatures as I have for Heroscape, it's going to be speed painting. Ooh, Minecraft chess set. Did you 3D print it? Or is it actually like an item that they sold you unpainted? Oh, you bought it. Interesting. And it didn't come painted. Is it just black and white and you're priming it, or are they all kind of like white pieces, or talk to me here. I'm intrigued. I'm not the big Minecrafter, but I do like when they make cool stuff. I like playing chess. I have a very nice tournament chess set in the other room. Oh yeah. It's just plastic. It's got a little bit of texture, I guess, but I wouldn't want to make the deep. Okay. Are you gonna prime them and paint them? Or are they already kind of in a state upon which you can get them all gorgeous? Private paint, okay. You said you had issues with your airbrush. You always had clogs. So you're probably not going to airbrush prime it. You're going to paint prime it or brush prime it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There we go. Got that gunmetal. Got to steal some paint from that cavity. You can see that paint is still wet in that little chest cavity there. Steal paint. There we go. Steal the paint from the chest cavity up there. Go in and whiten up that. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, didn't grab it. Boop, boop, boop. Go. White that I made. Oh, oh, made a boo-boo. Too much, too much, too much. Drink it up, drink it up. There we go. A little bit too much there, buddy. Right off, soak it in. I wish I was closer, Gigi. I love airbrushing, so I'd love to show you all the tips and tricks and get you rocking on the airbrush. Nothing more infuriating than owning a wonderful piece of equipment that doesn't want to do what you think it can do. Oh, I'll probably be gone, but if I don't see you, Gigi, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate you always coming by and supporting the channel. You are the greatest. You're what we call a friend. I like that. Yeah. Oh, man. The nostril. All right, let's get the feet done. It's the only thing I didn't get. Oh, man. How do I want to paint the bases? Do I want to do awesome bases on these guys? Whoop. Snagged a little bit of another color. There we go. Fixed it. Right. Need to make a little bit more of this gray. I don't really have. Paint medium. A little bit of splotchiness. Okay. Trim black. Ugh. My palette is drying out on me. I've got enough time, as long as I don't mess around too much, to finish just these little details. Yeah. Nose. Looks so much better when the nose is done. There we go. Yeah. Zoom it in there. Yeah. Look at that. We're pretty good at color by numbers. All right. Yeah, I'll have to come in and do some edge highlighting in certain areas and make it look extra pretty. White on the brush there. I think that'll do it for now. We got 3 minis done today. Right? Where's the focus? Oh, it's all the way over there. Let's see. Move the focus to. There we go. 3 minis basically done. And they all look pretty cool. Especially this one. All right. Oh. We're done. They're clean paintbrushes. I only got 2 brushes to clean. I use the number 2, and that brush is already starting to hook a little bit. But, yep, I'm done. No moss. Do some more painting later. I'm going to let all this paint in this cup dry. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll let all that dry. When it dries, I can literally just pop it out. So, I'm going to leave this right on the desk here. I'll clean this. Clean this. Throw away all this nonsense. I'm done. My paint water. I haven't got my wet palette ready in case I want to do some fine details, but I'm just kind of, I'll use that when I get to, because I'm going to come in and edge highlight these. I really want to come in here. I have an example. This is a really good example of edge highlighting here. So switching camera and focusing manually. You see these little individual highlights? When you look from further away, it looks like it has bright highlights where the metal plates are. We're going to do that. And I don't know how we're going to do the bases. I don't know if I'm going to do fancy bases like this, where I do like little scenes, or if I'm going to not do that. So we'll let chat decide when that happens. But for now, we'll finish the last of this guy. This guy right here needs to get done. I'll do that on another stream. 3 minis in 2 hours without any fancy highlighting and stuff. That's pretty good. These turned out really nice. I'll post some nicer images online. Share them. Yeah, I think that's it. We're good. No more. I'm going to try to sleep. I didn't sleep much last night. My sinuses are still going crazy. So again, thank you everyone who came by. Michael Cassell, I wish you luck on your surgery. Bro, you got this. GG as always. And Beer Vaders, thank you again. And Red Light. Thank you all for coming to chat, hanging out, and we'll see you again soon. Yeah, I'll catch you later. Peace.